don't know what you do to me. Between me and you, I feel a chemistry. I won't let no one come and take your place, cause the love you give, it can't be replaced.
Hey YouTube, it's your girl Alicia V, and today we're just gonna jump straight into the makeup tutorial. So I'm starting with my moisturizer. All these products in this video are linked below. You can use whatever products you have at home. I'm not telling you to go get my exact products, but they work pretty well for me. So if you want to know what I use, they'll be in the description box. But girl, use what you got. Don't go out and buy no new stuff. Practice with what you have. So I'm using my moisturizer and my primer to just give me a really smooth base. I really love this primer I'm using because I have dry skin. So if you have dry skin, make sure you check it out. I'm taking a base concealer, which is a concealer which is closer to my skin tone, and I'm putting it right under my eyes. As you can see, I have really bad discoloration. It's not really bad, but you know, discoloration around my mouth and up under my eyes. So I do like to use a concealer under my foundation just to give me a smooth, color corrected base. You can use any concealer you have, but I like to use one that's closer to my skin tone and not one that's super light, because I don't want to brighten up my entire face under my foundation. So I just like to use one that's closer. And I'm taking my concealer brush and I'm buffing out the edges of it. I let it dry down a bit because I don't want to go straight into it, moving it around, and it just diffuses out. Like, I want it to be stuck in that place. So I'm taking my brush and I'm just buffing out the edges, lightly patting it in. Don't do any harsh brush strokes or anything, because you don't want the product to move around too much. You want it to stay and actually do what you want it to do, which is cover your blemishes. So yeah, I'm using it for my dark spots or darkness around my face, but you can also use it to conceal pimples or dark marks or whatever you have on your face. This is a good method to use. Instead of a color corrector, you could just use a closer to your skin tone concealer. So yeah. So I'm taking my foundation and I'm placing it all around my face. I don't go overboard with the foundation, y'all. You don't need to pump 5, 6, 1,000 pumps. I use like 2 pumps in all, but I do spread it around on my face just to have it even on both sides. And I'm taking my brush and I'm buffing it out, lightly buffing it out. Y'all, keyword, lightly buffing it out around. I don't like to go straight in with a beauty blender just because I feel like beauty blenders soak up a lot of product. And if you're using an expensive foundation, I'm not trying to get all of my foundation on the damn beauty blender, honey. I want the foundation on my face. So I like to take my brush first, which this is a really good brush. If you want to purchase it, it'll be down below. As you can see, it blends out so well with the brush. Honestly, you don't even really need to use a beauty blender, but I still like to use one just because I think it gives it a little pop on the end, a little smoothness on the end. But y'all, the foundation, less is more. Less is always more. Remember that, ladies. Less is more, especially for my beginner girls. 'Cause I remember I used to use so much product, and nowadays you just don't need all that. So yeah, buff that out, girl. Make sure you get on that neck. You don't want to have a big line of demarcation from your foundation to your neck. So make sure you're getting all the nooks and crannies, blending it all out. And you should have a perfect base right now. This is a perfect base for what's next. So I'm taking my Brightening Concealer, which as you can see, I already concealed my darkness under my eyes from the first step. But now I'm taking this concealer just to give me some brightness. I'm not putting it super low because I do have a round face, so I try not to bring it too low. And I honestly try not to use more product than I need. So this is one dip into my concealer and I spread it across both eyes because I don't want to overload it. And I'm taking it under my eyes. I like to do a roundness, I don't know what that's called, a round hump on my forehead. A couple dots down my nose. I like to take it across the top of my mouth because I do have that discoloration, and I just think this step gives it a little more coverage, even though it really is covered, but I just need a little extra security for me. And a dot on my chin. And yeah, that's all the concealer I use. I don't use anymore. I'm taking my cream bronzer and I'm just putting it into the hollows of my cheeks, around my forehead. Sometimes I do it this method. Sometimes I just go straight in with a powdered bronzer. But you know, if I want to have a little extra oomph, I'll do the cream bronzer first. So I'm doing the same method as I used for my first concealer. I'm buffing out the edges, y'all. The edges first. Let the base of the concealer sit for a minute and buff out the edges. You don't want to just go straight in like with wet concealer and just start moving it all around, especially with a beauty blender, because you'll look up and your whole face will be covered with concealer. We've all been there, honey. I know. Especially for a beginner, I know. Let the concealer set and go in with a brush and buff out the edges before you start moving it around, because it'll spread all over your face and there's no coming back. It's no coming back from it. So you need to just relax, let it set, buff out the edges, and you should be fine. So you can just watch me buff out all the edges now, and make sure you watch how I do my under eyes, because I definitely don't move the products right under my eyes around at all. I go around the edges and then I come back with my beauty blender and I buff out the inside. But just watch how I do it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory while you're watching it. So now I'm going back in and buffing out that cream bronzer I placed earlier. I don't like to swipe. I like to kind of buff in circles just so it doesn't move around too much. Even though, like I said, I have a really full round face, so I can use a little extra help there. But I don't like it to get too low on my face, because then it'll just be like super muddy and you don't want it to do that. So make sure you move in circular motions, and make sure you're using a dense brush. So now I'm going back in with my beauty blender and just buffing out right up under my eyelids, which I left while I buffed out the contour, because I wanted it to be set and bright. I have had times where I was buffing out my under eyes with a beauty blender and then I look up and it doesn't even look like I did anything, because one, I moved the product around too fast. Two, I didn't let it sit long enough for it to set on my eyes. And three, I just wasn't thinking about the placement of it. I was just moving it around, and this doesn't work. And I like to take whatever's left over on top of my eyelids, because you know you can't leave those untouched. So you can just take whatever's left, put it up on top of your eyelids, and you should be fine after that. And I'm waiting on myself to go and buff out my forehead, which I know is coming. So yeah, just keep watching. Make sure you follow this step by step if you want a super natural base of makeup. I just think that my makeup has come so far. This has been years of practice in the making, and I think I finally got to the point where it's like it's perfect every time. I rarely ever have any like huge mishaps with my makeup now, just because of so much trial and error. But I like to have a really nice base of makeup. So I'm taking my powder and I'm just taking a little bit on my wet sponge, and I'm pressing it into my under eyes and the top of my eyelids. I do not bake. I have dry skin. It does not help me any. I will end up looking like a leather bag at the end of this, and I don't want to look like that. So I'm just taking that powder and pressing it in. I don't let it sit. I don't bake or any of those things. So I am using my powder to also carve out my cheekbones. And in this particular video, I feel like I did it just a little bit too high. I've tended to do it too high sometimes. And I definitely think in this video, I did it too high. And it's just because of the double chin. Like, the double chin is in the way, honey. It's in the way. So I'm taking my contour and I'm just going back over my cream with a more warm contour shade. But this one is a powder. The whole palette is linked below. It's from Sephora. And I just use it to warm up my face, to give it some life, to give it some oomph. You know, you need that cream and powder. Honestly, you don't really need the cream. The cream is just extra. So you can definitely skip the cream step, but you cannot skip the powder step at all. So it's either powder and cream or just powder, but you need the powder. You don't really need the cream. I'm taking it down my nose. I like to put it right in the insides of my eyelids just because I feel like it gives me some shape. Down my nose, and I use that same color above my eyelids. I don't know, y'all. Sometimes I use eyeshadow, but a lot of the times it's just on my everyday face. And this is my everyday makeup routine. If I'm going to wear makeup, this is what I'm gonna do. And I use my bronzer shade on my eyelids. Sometimes I use 2 of the bronzer shades, but it's always just my bronzer shades, just because I think that it's the same exact color, and it just looks so good. Like, and it's easy. I don't have to apply anymore products. It just works. Try it. If you haven't tried using your bronzer shade for your eyeshadow, girl, you missing out. So I'm just going through with my beauty blender and just buffing everything out, blending it all together just so it's no harsh lines. My brows are super easy nowadays. I don't even carve out my brows at all. Honestly, I just take my pencil and I fill them in, and that's it. I like a natural, light looking brow. I don't want a really harsh, overdone looking brow. So I don't even bother with like the carving them out or any of that stuff, because I really just want my brows to look really natural. And I think that I do a good job at that. I try to keep them clean underneath so I don't have to do a lot of extra. But yeah, I just use an eyebrow pencil. It's really straightforward, really straight to the point. And I like to do my brows last. I don't do my brows first. So I'm taking all of my blush and highlight shades together, and this is something that I do every single day. And I just put it on my cheekbones as my blush, but I want it to be like a blushy highlight type of mixture. That's why I swipe it across all 4 shades. This is my favorite little palette. So I swipe my brush across all 4 shades, and I use that as my blush / highlight, because I don't like a dramatic highlight on my cheeks anymore. And I take that highlight shade, put it on my nose, and that's honestly all the highlighting I do. So I'm setting my face, girl. I use the Morphe spray just because I told y'all I have dry skin, so I don't have to use anything matte at all. Nothing I use is matte. So I'm letting it dry down. Girl, do you see that? Are y'all looking at this? This is without the lash. Girl. So my secret weapon nowadays has been eyeliner glue, y'all. The Kiss eyeliner glue is amazing. It has made my lash life so easy. I used to not struggle with my lashes, but it was just unpredictable for me. Like, some days I could pop them on and some days I can't. But when I use my eyeliner glue, y'all, I pop those lashes straight on. And these lashes are my absolute favorite. I saw them on Ashley Devonna's page, and she tagged these lashes and how she was raving about how she loved these lashes, and I had to go buy them. So I bought like 5 pair, and these are the only lashes I've worn since then. They are a little dramatic, but I love them. They are a little dramatic. I will say that, but I mean, I'm a dramatic lash girl, so I wear these with my everyday face, but you can definitely tone down the lashes to have a more subtle look if that's what you are going for. But I like a little full lash. So if you look for these lashes, girl, get these lashes, baby. You see that? And it's so easy with the eyelash glue. Oh, get the liner glue. If you don't get nothing else from this video, get the eyeliner glue and get the lashes. So I'm taking my mascara and I'm hitting my bottom lashes with it. Honestly, it's a must-do step for me, but it is kind of difficult. You want to use a mascara that has a skinny one for it. Lip liner. So girls, if you don't do nothing else, line your lips. I used to never line my lips, and I always felt like my lipstick or my lip gloss just looks strange, and it's because I didn't line my lips. And honestly, you need a really good high quality lip liner. That What's in Beauty Supply store do not work. I don't know, maybe I'm buying the wrong ones, but I have to stick with my MAC lip liners because they just give me the best color payoff. And yeah, line your lips, girl. It doesn't even matter if you're just using a clear gloss, still line your lips. This is my absolute favorite lip gloss. I use it every single day as I do my makeup. I'm not saying I do my makeup every day, but when I do I do gravitate towards this specific lip gloss. And I don't know whether it's just the lip gloss color or the lip gloss. I just think it is my perfect nudie shade. It's linked below if you want to try it out. And I love it. The face is sitting, baby. The face card never declined, boo. Ooh, you see that? Oh my god. I'm cute. Okay, y'all, so this is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I tried to make it as easy and as thorough as I could. Details, baby. You should be able to follow this easily. But if you can't, let me know in the description box what y'all think about it. But the look, the face card, the makeup, the face card does not, it declines. Period. So if you want to see more videos from me, make sure you subscribe to my channel below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and turn notifications on so you don't miss any upload. And I will see you guys in the next one.